On this episode of VINO Las Vegas, we're at Nora's Wine Bar in Summerlin for a wonderful educational afternoon with slow foods and learning how to save the wild salmon, our Western heritage. The kitchen is abuzz, so we're getting ready to get started.
Aficionado. I love our state. This is why I have collaborated with a few to organize Slow Food Las Vegas. This is why I have put myself in contact with folks such as Save Our Wild Salmon. And the more I learn about Nevada, and the more interesting it gets to me. I was very surprised to hear about a year ago that Nevada used to be a salmon state about 100 years ago. I had no clue. You guys are going to know a lot about that in a few minutes. First of all, I wanted to welcome a few people. And do not know about Chef Paul. He's a big man in California. I've known of him for many years, and I'm honored that he made the trip out here to be with us. He founded a fish company up in San Francisco. He promotes sustainable fishing. If it's for me, I'm busy.
Okay.
Let him know.
I'll check it out.
All right, thank you.
If I can find it.
Thank you all very much for coming today to this luncheon so graciously hosted by Giovanni, and thank you to all of his staff, the chef, and manager, and everyone else for putting on this great luncheon. And I just want to say a few thank yous before we get started. I want to say thank you to Bundy Ranch for the great melons they bring in, University Farms for the tree fruit, the pears and apples and quince, which are all locally produced. So, but he wants you to know that he has our full support. And the next time we have a meeting like this, we have another one of these, he definitely wants to be part of it. He wants to see wild salmon come back to Nevada. The reason that I'm here today is because I feel one of the most important issues in ocean conservation today is restoration of wild salmon, protecting what's left of our wild salmon. I feel as if we are truly the defining generation for salmon. I have no doubt that we could see the demise of wild salmon in the lower 48 in the next 5 to 10 years if we're not careful. I think that future generations will look back upon us and say either we are the generation which saved the last of the wild salmon, or we are the generation which allowed the last of the wild majestic salmon runs to disappear into streams and rivers. John Wilkes, who was in charge of the important Pacific expedition, said that salmon is the #1 economic driver to the entire West. And something that you may not know is that as recently as 100 years ago, tens of thousands of wild king salmon and steelhead came back to the very streams and rivers in northern Nevada. So the salmon was supposedly so abundant in northern Nevada that it was said that you could pitchfork the fish out of the streams to be loaded on wagons and trucks to be driven to cities and towns to be sold. Back from the ocean, they bring nutrients back to those same watersheds, back to the streams, back to the forests, everything from eagles and bears, the greatest predators, to the tiny little phytoplankton which are in the streams are dependent upon salmon. It said that trees in the watershed, in salmon watershed, get something like 60 to 70% of their nutrients from salmon carcasses coming back from the ocean. And you can trace how historic good salmon years by looking at the rings of trees in forests, in the trees. Just so, like, when we have good water years, we have good salmon years, and they can be traced, which is really pretty interesting. 60 years. The entire coast, from the Oregon border to Mexico, was closed to all commercial and recreational fishing because of the complete collapse of the most important run of salmon on the Pacific coast, the full run of the Sacramento River. And then when we look
you served me a little bit beforehand, but no problem there, Giovanni. We want to say on behalf of Wild Salmon, Paul Johnson, and other folks at Slow Food, thank you so much, and to everybody else at Nora's here. You guys put on a great event. And so on behalf of us, this is Fish Forever. It's Paul Johnson's book, I think, and then he'll sign it for sure. So thanks. So thanks everybody for coming. My name, again, is Bobby Hayden from Save Our Wild Salmon Coalition. Our coalition, which is based in Seattle and has offices throughout the Northwest and in Washington, D.C. as well, is a broad-based coalition of a number of different groups, commercial fishing groups, sport fishing groups, conservation groups, businesses, taxpayer advocates, clean energy advocates, and food advocates, such as Slow Food USA, who are all committed to restoring wild runs of salmon and steelhead, particularly in the Columbia and Snake rivers. As Paul mentioned earlier, this basin was once home to the largest runs of salmon and steelhead in the world. Depending on who you talk to, as many as 16 to upwards of 30 million fish actually used to come up this river and have been important to the culture and economy of the Northwest and the entire West for thousands of years with native tribes, and also sustaining livelihoods like Paul's as well. The reason you're all sitting here today is a really important one. Paul, I think, mentioned earlier as well, to vote with your fork. And that's a really important message for folks, particularly in Nevada. And now Nevada has a really key role to play in the future of salmon and steelhead within this basin. As Giovanni was talking about earlier, and Paul as well, Nevada's a salmon state. Not many people do it. And this history is coming back. It's amazing to hear these stories of ranchers up in the north that used to bring these fish to market, and Paul said, pull them out with fish forks. This is something that's part of Nevada's heritage, and that's doable and winnable to get back. It's a long-term goal, but today's event and other events in the future is a step in the right direction. Now, like I said, you guys, this is a great step forward to vote with your fork. The next step is to really get leaders within the region, within Nevada, to pay attention to this issue. As Paul said, Senator Harry Reid has started to engage and is really looking at this issue of restoring salmon back to Nevada. We need to get voices into Senator Enson's office. Congresswoman Shelley Berkeley has been pretty key as well. She started to chime in and is excited about this opportunity to bring salmon back. Congressman Dean Heller, we need to hear from, he needs to hear from folks as well, and also Congresswoman-elect Dina Titus. She just got elected, so we think she has potential to really chime in as well. So what we need you folks to do, thank you so much for coming. I'd offer, as you leave, we have a petition that we're going to send to Senator Reid, Senator Ensign, and the rest of the Nevada congressional delegation that's going to ask for their leadership to really bring Nevada, to make Nevada have a seat at this table.
Harris Owens and Thomas McComey, thank you very much. This is, to me, a very historic event. It is the first of its kind in Nevada. Love this state, love what we're about, embrace our culture. That's what allowed me to absolutely fall in love with our state. I was just telling my brother that there's no way I would live anywhere else. I would vacation many other places. But this is my home state. I absolutely have fallen in love. And what allowed that love affair with the state of Nevada is knowing how many resources and how many wonderful benefits we have here amongst us. So really learn about it. learn what this state is all about, and learn what it has to offer. And thank you again, you guys, for coming to save the Wild Salmon, support everybody. And dessert is coming up next, and anything you need, let me know. Enjoy the rest of your day. Oh, wait a minute.
Great food and an educational experience. Nora's Wine Bar and Slow Foods.